This is Real Talk with Joel, Gatlin, and Hayden.
Guys, it feels great to be back. Went on a little walkabout for a couple of days, met some people, did some things, experienced life. But I tell you what,
found himself in New York City.
I may have, I don't know about all that, but I missed you guys so much, and I was just drawn to come back to Oklahoma because I had to be on Real Talk with my boys, Joel and Hayden.
They say if you make it there, you can make it anywhere, Gatlin.
That is true.
That's true.
Here at Real Talk, we only give the best to our listeners, and that includes sending one of our hosts 3,000 miles away. How far is New York?
1,300 miles.
13
Wow.
miles. That's close.
We're close, yeah.
1,300 miles away on assignment just to go to a musical so we could report to you listeners. So I just want you guys to know how much we care about y'all.
I know. Guys, this is the most dedicated we've ever been to an experiment, to go out and do something like this. We went and watched movies. We went and, gave people our critical review of movies. But this time, we were talking musicals last week. Y'all sent me on assignment to Broadway.
Yes, we did.
The home of musicals, where musicals have been going on for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And I went and saw Jersey Boys.
That's awesome. Tell us a bit about it.
Jersey Boys was fantastic. For anybody who's seen the movie is very almost spot on with the musical. But the thing is with the musical, it's so fast-paced. You're just like, you feel like there's just nonstop action, and there's a 15-minute intersection in between the first and second act. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it was still a 2.5-hour play. I believe the movie's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it was at a way faster pace. And you got a little bit more detail on certain things, but the music, the score, everything was fantastic.
Now, can you describe the experience of going to Broadway, like just the experience of going there and what that was like?
Broadway, guys, okay, the thing is, like, it's not what I imagined it. Because you're just looking around, you're thinking Broadway's like this one, like, oh, there's probably just one big play happening. Like, no, there's theaters everywhere on Broadway. There's small theaters, big theaters. You see Les Miserables playing this place. You see Fiddler on the Roof playing on this place. You're like, I thought that thing was dead. Like, oh, Jersey Boys is playing here. Like, okay, that's where we're going later tonight. Oh, what's that? There's so many movies they've turned into musicals. Elf the musical is out.
Yeah.
School of Rock the musical is out.
Disney.
There's so many.
There's a lot of Disney ones.
But I've
too.
heard they're actually good. And I believe everywhere if you look on Broadway, it'll bill the best musical, and then right below it have a small year. It was when it was the best musical. And on top of one theater, it says, it's big flashing lights, it says best musical. And then really small lights, it says 2013.
It's all about marketing up there in New York.
It's awesome, guys. I highly recommend going up there, but I mean, me personally, an Oklahoma boy, going up there for 4 or 5 days, that's
plenty.
That's all you need to do.
Plenty. All of us have been to New York, right? I've been to New York.
I have been to New York.
I've been to New York.
We've all been to New York.
Let's transplant. Next week, guys, we'll be broadcasting live from the top of the Rock. You can catch us live. I don't know if 3 to 5 will work with their schedule. We may have to do 4 to 6.
4 to 6 Eastern time, which would still be 3 to 5 here.
That's how we do that.
We sent Gatlin to test it out in New York to see how it works over there, and now we got an approval from Gatlin. So now we will broadcast.
The Comrex wasn't working up on top of the Rock, though, guys. The Comrex was not working.
Well, I will tell you guys this. We spare nothing for our listeners. We send our guys on assignment. I'm just personally waiting for our space movie episode so that we can send me into space, which I would actually be the second monkey to ever be sent into space. So,
second monkey?
Wait, I guess third. The Russians sent one.
The Russians sent one.
No, the Chinese probably did too. The Chinese, the Russians. Did we send a monkey? No,
we sent a dog.
The Russians. No, I thought. Did the Russians send a dog? Remember the Russians?
The Russians sent a dog. We sent a monkey.
We sent a monkey.
Chimp, I think. I can't remember.
I don't know what the Chinese sent.
I cannot remember.
Me neither.
Well, Joel, why don't you tell our listeners what we got coming up in the show? First, we got to talk about last night.
Wow, there's a lot of things going on last night.
There was a lot. Well, the debate,
the World Series Game 2,
and the Thunder, baby.
Open their season with the W. Thunder. I saw one of my friends on Twitter put up, I have Thunderstruck on replay for 24 hours, and that was the day before the opener.
Hey, it feels good to beat the Spurs. It always feels good.
Oh, I love when we beat Popovich.
Yeah, it must kill him too.
But I'd trade that win now for a win in May or April.
Anyone does,
even June.
Yeah, it was a huge win though.
Take it.
Billy Donovan, he's his first game coaching.
They look good. They look fantastic. Yeah. Russell went off, and then who else looked really good? Deion Waiters.
Oh yeah, he looked great, and Cantor too.
Cantor did phenomenal off the bench.
Yeah.
Funny story. A good friend of mine who actually comes to our Bible study on Thursday nights, he actually filmed the intro this year for the.
That's
the
awesome.
Thunder.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So, but this is what I love about him. He is not a huge sports guy, and so he's like, "Yeah, I met like Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and like literally all of us are like, you met Kevin Durant," and he's like, "This is kind of nice." His favorite guy was Steven Adams, though.
Oh, he's grown a lot since being drafted.
He said Steven, and the nicest guy he said was Mitch McGarry.
Oh yeah, that's what my buddy who's a ball boy for the Thunder says. Mitch McGarry's a nice guy, and I met Mitch McGarry at the College World Series.
So it's
Nicest
you heard
guy.
it here first, guys. Confirmed by 2 sources.
For the Thunder, and I've met him as well.
Mitch McGarry is officially the nicest guy on the Thunder's roster.
Agreed.
I mean, you don't have to draft him in fantasy basketball for that reason, but.
And me and him have the same watch. That's what we became. We became watch friends because of that. We have the same fossil watch.
You and Mitch McGarry?
Yes. He's like, we're fossil buddies. I'm like,
you met Mitch McGarry?
Yeah, the College World Series. It was Women's College World Series last year when Michigan was playing Florida, and I was there with on other endeavors for other stuff.
Yeah,
so. You were doing other things, and you were on there, and you saw Mitch McGarry.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tailgated with him and the other Wolverine fans.
He was doing good last year near the end of the season, and for some reason in the playoffs or in this season, we haven't seen him yet. I mean, it's for one game. You know.
Guys, I do have a story to tell y'all. I found this out yesterday. Actually, Gatlin was there. The movie Radio, which may come up in our show today. I'll save this information later on. I'll save it for later. But
cool.
Just tease it out a little bit.
You did a good job teasing, because today's show is about sad moments in movies. What a downer. What a downer. I'm feeling good today, too.
Brian Williams just brought down the mood.
Hey, he's back on, isn't he back on the news?
He is back.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have his old slot. He
oh,
lost
yeah.
that.
He's
going to take some years to get
Where
that
is he?
back.
Where is he now?
He's CNBC.
He's the same NBC, right?
Yeah, CNBC.
CNBC, yeah.
I saw him on TV one time, so I didn't know if it was a
more like
replay
the
or
1 to
something.
3 slot.
Yeah, who knows? But today we're talking sad moments in movies, and there's plenty of sad moments out there. They don't have to be deaths. They don't always have to be deaths, you know. There's plenty of moments in movies that are just sad in themselves. And I could say, well, I'm excited for this. I'm not really excited to say, this was really sad, and I'm excited to tell you why. But
you know what?
But it's an important part of movies.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of the beauty, I think, of film is film, unlike any other genre, has a way of capturing emotion. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about cinema. There's a certain way that books can highlight emotion, a certain way that radio highlights emotion, but there's something very specific and extremely artistic and difficult about highlighting emotion, especially sadness, any strong emotion like that in film. So I'm excited. It might be a little more of a downer day, but I think it'll be
an
cool.
important one, though.
But see, the thing is, the thing that makes some moments in movies sad are sometimes great moments in movies. It doesn't have to be just, oh man, somebody died, or somebody's heart got broken. It doesn't have to be that.
Right.
It can be anything.
And that's what drives the story too. I mean,
exactly.
Nobody wants to watch a movie of just good times ends with good times.
It's not life. You
have no story there. It's
more relatable, because in life you get a lot of sad moments, and whenever you're alive, and it's not always death, but whenever somebody close to you has something bad going on, there's sadness, just like in movies, like what they try to do too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, also coming up today, we have. Let's see what. Are we doing top 5? Or are we doing top 10?
We're doing our top 5 saddest moments.
But we can probably drop some honorable mentions in there. I had a lot.
Can we? Because I feel like there's more than just 5 for me.
Yeah.
Well, you could please some honorable mentions in there.
Okay.
We just do a top 5 list to make sure we're ready for it. That way we can go back and forth.
We are talking box office right now. This is one of my more favorite segments of the show, because we get to get into the money side of things. And you know what we always say, Hayden?
Ching. Scared money don't make money.
He was so nervous.
That's right. Life motto that you probably should get tatted right there across your back, along with the very front. No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No, spell it as A-R. R-A.
Not one single letter?
Just spell R-A grets. That some people have had that mistake of doing their tattoos will never do it.
Was that on Weird the Miller? Have you seen that?
I think so.
Yeah, the kid's he's like, no regrets. It's my credo. He's like, not even one single letter.
Yeah.
It's like, no, sir.
But talk about perfectly situated. That was a good timing coming back from the break, Gatlin. I applaud you.
I saw that the waveform.
Yeah.
It dropped, and I was like, yep, I know perfect.
Gatlin knows exactly when to strike.
We're just the most artistic show on the wires. Oh, I did it. I
On
mean,
the
on
what?
kxou.ou.edu.
That's right.
That's all right.
Long live.
Phasing out.
That's all right. Don't do it so loudly like that one right there.
Phasing back in.
Let's move to some box office as Hayden phases back in. We have
Like, really, we have the loudest chairs here in studio. Let's let our listeners just listen to this one more time.
What is that? What is that? And he leans back in his chair and it makes the cringiest sound.
It's,
for those of you who are not watching and can only listen, that is the sound of our chairs.
For those of you who don't think radio is hard work, try to do a show without moving.
Yeah.
Well, that's only Hayden because he's just got that one chair.
And he's really wiry. Like Hayden's like he has to always be doing stuff, guys. So this is really tough for him. Hayden,
He
when
loves his
when
hand
comes, he's
gestures.
Professional.
I do move my hands a ton when I'm
do.
in here.
I do too, though, so it's not a big deal. It's all right. What happens if you don't have hands, though? You just Hayden would be the same.
I can't talk without my hands. It's like my brain.
I don't know where to put my hands.
I can't.
All right, let's get back on track
But
before.
one more thing, Joe.
Okay, you're
have
good.
you ever used the speech jammer? Have you guys ever seen that?
What is
No.
that?
We'll have to do that on the air sometime. It's where you have your headphones plugged into your iPhone
Uh-huh.
or your Android device.
The voice.
By the way, you can listen to us live
Oh,
on your
good
Android
plug.
device or on your Apple device just by getting the TuneIn app and searching KXOU. But so you plug it into your device and then you have your headphones set to playback,
Mhm.
but it's like a split second slower, and so the way your brain helps you to speak is
Yeah.
it listens to your speech, and so if you're a second delayed, it comes out like this, and you
Oh, yeah.
sound like it's
We actually use that at another place, and they call
the
it
unnamed employer.
They call it the something .20 because it's like the legal limit of for driving.
Oh,
and it
you know,
sounds
I
like
have
you're
heard that segment at the
intoxicated.
place that you work at. I know who does that segment. It's actually really funny.
Yeah,
They do it to recorded voices,
to
right?
even people that are like on the show. It's pretty funny. It's
Yeah.
pretty.
Recorded the voices. Record the voices. See how like those words go together nicely, and I was losing my voice
Well,
for a bit.
Joel, what do we have going on in the box office? I do have something to say about one of the films on this list.
Okay, we have quite a bit of lineup. This is 1 week ago, so this is last weekend's box office, and like 1 week early of Halloween, we have plenty of Halloween movies on the list. We'll start off with the last one, Hotel Transylvania 2. Now, this is more of a kids one, 8.9 million. These are all from Rotten Tomatoes, by the way.
This is number 5 on the list,
This
correct?
is number 5.
Okay.
So let's move on to number 4, The Last Witch Hunter at 10.8 million. Move on to the next one, Bridge of Spies with 11.4 million.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, Hayden's excited about that one. And then we go to Goosebumps, 15.5 million. And sticking at number 1 after a slight drop last week to Goosebumps, right, Gatlin? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Brian Williams appreciates it. Number 1, The Martian at 15.7, just by a hair beating Goosebumps at 15.7 million. So guys,
Space always wins. No, I will say this about Bridge of Spies. I went and saw it with my brother and a couple of my friends here from OU last Friday. And I'd been really excited to see it. I've been hearing some good things. And let me tell y'all, that movie lives up to the expectations. The storyline,
wow.
I don't want to
Yeah.
give away too much of the storyline, but it is an absolutely, like, I think on IMDb it's got like a 90%, 92% from critics and users.
it's 8.1, but on Rotten Tomatoes it's got a 92. So that's pretty high.
It is. It's a super solid film, and I again, I won't give too much away, but it's almost 2 films within a film. There's a part that's set in New York, and there's a part that's set in Berlin, and this isn't giving anything away, but it's during the time that the Berlin Wall's coming up, and after having gone to Germany this summer, it was and being in Berlin post all this and seeing all the museums and all the stuff. It was really cool to see the way that they made that period in history come to life.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
not really a really there's not a lot of films that have to do with that time period. So it
Exactly.
was really cool to see the way they represented it. But there's literally no action in that movie. It's a completely dialogue
Sounds very
driven script.
Sounds
It's
very
it's
much
very-
like The Imitation Game.
It's very much like Tom Hanks in the early
Imitation.
'90s. Most of his movies.
And I'll say this also. It's really like a solid. When you watch it, it draws you in the entire time. Like, you don't feel like it's 2.5 hours long. And it's a really, and I would say this, you could almost even take, there's like a couple things in it, but you could almost even take your kids to it. That's how clean this movie is.
That's awesome.
So it's like, there's a lot of, it's just a solid
It's a really
film.
good movie.
And the dialogue is awesome.
Very, very unique thing about this too. This is, I think, the first time I've ever seen. Well, I could be wrong, but I think this is the first time I've ever seen the Coen brothers and Steven Spielberg collab together.
You're welcome.
In some sort of way. And Gatlin told me that earlier, and I didn't know that.
I didn't know they collaborated on this.
I didn't know about that until
the screenplay.
Today too. Yeah, the screenplay was written by the Coen brothers.
Right here for you.
So the dialogue felt
writers,
yeah.
Matt Chairman, Ethan Coen, and others, which it says Joel
Coen. Yeah, not me.
You know what's really interesting? After this film, like this movie was so powerful. I went up and Wikipedia'd it, but I Wikipedia'd like all the characters and all stuff, like the actual, because it's based on a real story.
Right.
And I went back, and that's a fascinating story in and of itself. It has to do with the communist spying in the United States following the Second World War. It's a fascinating story. I'll get off my soapbox.
When I first saw the trailer for it, I was like, this looks really good. The poster doesn't do it justice, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, it looks.
And the poster almost looks like an action. Almost want to say White House down.
You could replace that. You can replace
like
Tom Hanks.
Extreme close up on Tom Hanks.
Yeah, and the thing is that close up doesn't really make me look. It doesn't look like Tom Hanks. It looks more like Tom Cruise type of deal.
Yeah.
It looks like you can.
And
it's
got
more
the
of a Tom
American
Cruise
flag and
the
the
Soviet.
Soviet.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, and I really want to see this now, especially knowing the Coen brothers are involved.
It's worth.
I thought you said it's worse.
No, it is. It is definitely. It's worth seeing. But it's interesting though. You can still see Spielberg's like 1970s influences. That was what was really cool. Is like some of his cross dissolves and some of his camera moves. You're watching it, you're going. You feel like you're
vintage Spielberg.
Exactly. And so that made it cool for me too.
Yeah.
One thing I want to touch on here at the box office segment is, we talked about the top two movies, Goosebumps and The Martian.
Mm-hmm.
The Martian in total has made $166 million.
Wow.
And I don't know for sure if that's domestic only or if that's worldwide.
Probably domestic.
But just domestic, because I don't even know if it's released in like China or anywhere yet.
I don't think so yet.
And then the Goosebumps, a movie I honestly didn't think was going to do nothing, is at almost 45 million.
Wow. In just 2 weeks into its release.
That's a Jack Black movie. Like, when's the last time Jack Black had a movie?
I didn't even know Jack Black was in it.
Yeah, he's R.L. Stein.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God. I haven't seen a trailer, so that's probably why.
Bridge of Spies has been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've been off the grid. I have been off the grid, guys.
I've been off the grid. You have a good reason because you were in New York watching some musicals.
It's made
13,000 miles away. Is that right?
1,300 miles away.
1,300.
What is it? 13 million
13,000 miles away would be like Israel or somewhere.
Yeah. It's like halfway across the globe.
Gatlin was in Turkey, guys, on assignment.
And next week on assignment, I'll be in China trying to see how they transition to watching movies compared to Americans.
You have 1 week to learn Mandarin.
That's awesome.
Go.
No, but yeah.
Can I touch on one other movie?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, a movie that was number 7, which we didn't talk about, Steve Jobs.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Critics are talking mainly like huge things about this movie. It's only made $9.8 million total. Like you said, it's been in select theaters and stuff.
Right.
But people are talking about this movie. It's hot.
Here you go with the snooty critics again. They, not you, Gatlin. But
I know.
Here they go.
I haven't seen it.
The thing that drives me nuts is these movies. They're critically acclaimed, quote unquote. But then you watch them and you're like, it's not really that good. I mean, good stories. Now listen, there are some films that go under the radar, absolutely. But a lot of these films that have big guys in them, but they don't do that well, and they're kind of independently released and all this stuff.
Is there a specific example, Hayden, that you could think of, like from the top of your head, or
oh man,
like where critics kind of let you down as far as like hyping you up
the
for
artist?
a movie?
Yeah,
the artist would be a good one. I haven't seen it though.
Stuff like I
polarizing.
haven't seen Boyhood, so I don't want to. But
it hasn't won. It didn't win the award though. It just got nominated. But
okay, Birdman. Have you seen Birdman?
I'm phasing out.
Yeah. Before you phase out, can you tell us an example?
I mean, I would say films like Boyhood, stuff that they get a lot of acclaim for maybe the way they're shot or even their content, like they address some controversial subject matter, but it's not that good of a story. It's not that good of content. I don't know. That always seems to frustrate me a little bit.
You want to know something about this movie that I found out from a source last night? One of our good buddies, Ben Luton, said he went and saw it, and he saw Bridge of Spies, said the same thing you did. He said in this movie, the cinematographer changed the style of the film. And this isn't Bridge, this is in Steve Jobs.
Oh, never mind.
In the 70s version, it's like a grainier texture. It looks like it was shot on film, and then when it gets to the end of his life, it's like digital HD red camera. They said even in the 90s, it has like a 90s feel to it. They said it's kind of transitions with the period.
Yeah, and here's the thing about
That's
Steve
different.
Jobs. It's got like an all-star everything on it. And people don't know that. Danny Boyle, director of The King's Speech, correct?
Yes.
And
Aaron
Aaron
Sorkin
Sorkin, the
wrote it.
writer of The Social Network.
Oh, it's written like
He's wrote a ton of
phenomenal
things.
stuff,
And then you see the cast. Michael Fassbender, brilliant. Kate Winslet, great actress traditionally.
yeah.
Seth
Academy Award
Rogen,
nominee.
very Seth Rogen's very funny, but he at the same time he has been in serious movies
stuff.
like 50-50. Jeff Daniels. He's in this movie too.
back.
Yeah, Jeff Daniels, he's making a comeback. But he's in this movie too. I mean, when you look at this cast, you look at the writer, you look at the director, how could you not think this movie is going to be good? I haven't seen it. I really want to see it though. I have seen the Ashton Kutcher one. Mixed reviews. That one had mixed reviews. I enjoyed it.
I did too, actually.
I enjoyed
I
it.
actually thought it was a decent movie.
It got mixed reviews, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And this one, I'm interested to see it. Like what you said, the change up of style between periods within the movie. So, Gatlin, you touched on this a little bit earlier with The Martian and Goosebumps. Now, could you think Goosebumps could be getting all this money simply because there's a lack of like more of a not family, but more of a kids type of comedy, kids movie?
It's definitely the family. I think
It's a family. It's
but
definitely family.
Goosebumps
really.
is a huge book series.
Yeah, a lot of
that.
yeah.
Like that you could almost say Goosebumps shaped your early childhood reading.
Mm-hmm.
Most kids could say that. I was never huge on Goosebumps. I know all my friends.
I think
them.
I've read like 2 Goosebumps.
I used to watch the show
Yeah.
when I was younger. It used to creep me out. I used to get so scared.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that the thing with anytime like Hotel Transylvania came out, I don't even know if the very first one did excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at Hotel Transylvania. Okay, it's made 150 million.
Yeah, it's doing fine.
I'm just saying, guys, if you're gonna make a kid movie, you're gonna make money more than likely. You're gonna at least come out even.
Here's the thing: it's starting to fall off a bit, only because so many people have already seen it, and the kids are like, "What else is in the movie theater? How about we watch The Martian?" Kids are like, "No." What about
Parents say
Goosebumps?
no.
Is it that book from the library? Yes. So then let's go watch it.
We touched on this last year. When families go to the theater, it's a lot of, if you have a big family,
Right.
like the mom will take the kids to whatever, dad and like the teenage kids will go to the movie
Martian
they wanted to see,
or anything
something like
else.
Martian. So you get that little dynamic too. It's a good place that the family can go for a weekend.
The
hang
road
out.
trip, I think, is a prime
That's
example.
the next. That's the next one. That's
Yeah.
gonna make quite a bit. I think it might make quite a bit of money because there's a lack of like kids stuff
Yeah.
right now, and The Force Awakens is for
Are
everybody.
y'all ready for my bold prediction?
Go ahead.
I think Road Trip will actually be a solid film. That's
Solid
my-
film. Who's the lead in that?
Oh man, I forgot his name too. And Gatlin, you're supposed to be helping us out with this thing. I'm kidding.
Gatlin's.
I don't do
He's
my
from My
research.
Name Is
Gatlin's
Earl.
role
He's
is-
from My Name Is Earl.
Jason.
Oh, is he in
Scott
that one?
Lee? Is that his name?
No.
Jason. Jason
Seagal?
Lee.
No.
You're talking about the guy or Neil Patrick Harris.
No. It's
the original Chipmunks.
no, the original or the movies.
The movie.
He's still in
Jason-
him.
Jason Lee was in the original. Yes.
Yeah,
the
he's
first
the guy who played
one.
My Name Is Earl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he was in the second one though. No, he was in the second one, but he wasn't in the third.
Yeah,
I have a
Jason Lee.
feeling he was in all of them.
Is he in this
but
new
we'll
one?
See.
Uh,
But
Let's see.
let's find out. Why don't we find out?
We're doing the research.
Kaylee
Al.
Kuko's in it.
But here's the thing, Jason Lee. Like, there's a list of the cast from
Anna
all the movies,
Faris.
and he's like doesn't have like what movies he was in.
He's
So
in
I
it.
only assume he was in
He's
all
in
of
it.
them.
He's in it.
I only assume he was in all of them. That's all I can assume. But Alvin and the Chipmunks, man, I love the kids' TV show. I loved it as the kids' TV show, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Whenever I was a kid.
Remember the Batmonk episode? That was my favorite. No joke. They become
Bat Monk. Yeah, I remember that.
That was my favorite
Goodness.
episode.
But you see, but you see what I mean by lack of kids audiences. It's pretty obvious that there's not much of one because kids can only go watch the same movie a couple times. They have a short attention span. You put it on replay in the living room, maybe they'll watch it, but it takes effort to get them to the theater. And I think that Goosebumps is kind of filling that role in for now. And then Alvin and Chipmunks, it's gonna burst through the scene somehow, while The Force Awakens takes all the rest of the money. So that's about it for box office.
Actually, I do have a question about
Go ahead.
this new Star Wars film. If you guys could dress up as anybody for the premiere, who would you dress up as?
Anyone in the Star
Anybody in the
Wars?
Star Wars universe.
Han Solo.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
could see that.
I was born and raised
Dadgummit.
a Han Solo fan.
How about you, Joel?
I would dress up as Luke Skywalker simply because I remembered. Here's how you know I was good with my Star Wars movies. As a kid, in first grade, I think it was 2001 or 2000, we had this dress-up thing for our classroom. I remember this because there's a picture of me in this costume. Most kids at that time would either probably he's in first grade. And he just saw Star Wars. He's gonna go as Anakin, right? No, I went as Luke. And that's who I'm going to go to
Fight the
Warren
power.
as Luke Skywalker, the original
Well, who would you be,
Skywalker.
Hayden?
Me's a Hayden Hefner.
Oh,
You'd be
no,
Jar
Hayden,
Jar?
Hayden, no.
I want to see that.
I mean,
I dare
that'd be
you.
an interesting
I have a-
costume.
I double dog.
I will say
dare
this.
you.
I
I triple dog dare you.
Dude, I have a Jar Jar Binks mask, and I also have a Hayden Christensen mask. The Hayden Christensen Anakin Skywalker mask is literally the creepiest thing.
Dude,
I've
it has
seen.
to be creepy. I mean, his
Like, he's not even smiling though. He's doing that like that.
in that
as he
movie. In the
does.
movies, he did that too. He didn't smile. He just gives a slight smolder.
smirk.
It was a smolder. It was just creepy. It was like, go away. Where's Mark Hamill?
You know, when I watch those films, he just seems. And I'm not dogging on Hayden Christensen at all.
Oh, I was.
But
It's all right,
I feel
though.
like that character seems really whiny. The whole 3 movies, or I mean the 2 movies he's in. You know,
He does. He does.
there's no point where you're
Too
like,
much emotion.
yeah, exactly.
Jedis are not supposed to have emotion.
He's letting it get away. He needs to bottle it all inside.
One thing I will say real quick, I don't want to get too far off of because I love the Star Wars talk, but the movies that are coming up this week, real quick,
They're good.
you're gonna see The Martian is gonna be number 1 again. I guarantee you.
Next week?
Yeah, it will be. You know the main movie that I've been hearing previews for, or seeing previews for, and everything. Burnt. Bradley Cooper's new movie is a chef.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main movie, and then Our Brand is Crisis with Sandra Bullock. It's about the presidential race in Brazil. Yeah, those are the movies, and then also Scout's Guide to Zombie Apocalypse with Ty Sheridan, who was in Mud.
Yeah.
Young kid. That's about it.
And
That's about it.
I'll
for
throw you
movies this
something.
week.
I'll throw you something that's coming out pretty soon that a lot of people aren't really looking into right now. Which it has a lot of hype, and that is James Bond.
Oh yeah, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks away, and right when that movie comes out, it's like a clean slate from here on.
Actually, it's next week.
it's next week.
Yeah, it's next
So
Friday. I'm excited.
be prepared,
Spectre,
people.
baby.
James, it is
Daniel
Daniel Craig's
Daniel
last
Craig.
one.
His last James.
He hasn't.
James
I mean,
Bond.
people say he's not a James Bond. I think he's a fantastic actor for what he does, for the role he plays in James Bond. You could say he's not really James Bond, but yeah, I think he's a solid guy.
I think Hayden could be James Bond.
Who knows? He has to
American
get
James
that British accent first, though.
No, the American James Bond.
The American James Bond. So Indiana Jones.
Jimmy Bond.
Jim Bond.
Jim Bond. Hi,
Hey,
this is Joe.
my name is Jim.
Hi.
Jim Bond.
Oh, hello. My name is Jim Bond, and I've been prospecting in these hills.
Walter
for-
Brennan is the new James Bond.
He's reincarnated.
It's my favorite segment of the day, guys. My segment that we're going to be talking about today is What's Good with Goodman, our favorite actor in the local industry here in Oklahoma.
Our favorite actor, period.
Favorite actor, period.
pretty
But
much.
see, and then hey, guess what, Steven? I have not told them about the news for next week.
Okay.
I have not told him, so
Don't-
I'm going to break
don't
that to him. So don't give that away to him, okay?
You guys are going to get in trouble saying I'm your favorite actor.
We're not going to get in trouble because you are our favorite actor.
The man
You guys are
crush
too good to
continues.
me.
Well, hey, Steven, what are you up to today? What have you been doing?
Let's go with Goodman.
I'm on my way back to my house from set in Edmond.
You've been set. Wait, okay, now what have you been doing today?
I was doing Live Church is doing they do these series for different groups. There's a Switch and a Loop series and Connect. Connect's the TV series for the young ones that I do. And then you have your Loop series, which is kind of middle school. Well, not really middle school, like 10 and up. And then you have your Switch, and the Switch is kind of up to high school, and they get a little bit darker and grittier. So we're doing a little series, 4-part mini-series.
Look at you molding the minds of the young Christians of Oklahoma.
I know. Watch me. Watch me go.
Tell him a lot about the Flash and
Oh my goodness.
tell him a lot
They
about the
introduced
Flash.
King Shark.
I've heard of
past
King
Tuesday.
Shark.
King Shark is he has been in and out a lot of different heroes comic books, but right now they're making him. He's got his own basically realm next to Atlantis, filled with humanoid sharks like him, and that's hence the name King Shark. But
I always
really
like the straightforward villain names like that. You know, like the Joker, the Riddler.
It's kind of like his relationship with Aquaman, Arthur, is kind of that relationship that Peter Parker had with Eddie Brock, where there's some respect, but it's one of those where King Shark would hit Arthur and then get his back if Manta was trying to destroy the world or something like that. So they introduced that, so that was really cool. And then we've got Supergirl. I don't know if any of you guys watched that. It came on Monday.
I saw the
trailer.
Yeah, I saw the commercial as well.
Yeah. It was okay. I have a few problems with it. There's no way she could have her ears pierced.
Nice catch.
So, runners. But it was one of the... It kind of felt like... what was it? Ugly Betty. You guys ever watch that?
Yes.
I've seen an episode, yeah.
Office, really loud, really fast. Let's go, 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 go. A lot of people are having problems with Jimmy Olsen, not because he is a African-American, but because he looks like Superman buff. So a lot of people are having problems with that.
That's not going to work.
A great actor, but don't make him Jimmy Olsen. Make him Steel or something. How about that?
Yeah, that would work a lot better.
It got really interesting in the third act when she finally put on a suit and started hitting guys in the face. That was when it got really fun. So I'll continue to give it some more watch.
Do you think the show's gonna last, Steven?
Hey, if Gotham lasted this long,
Yeah, Gotham.
not a shot.
That's true.
Gotham has lasted.
Gotham is technically Batman 66. I mean, you put a mallet on a man's hand that's been cut off, you're Batman 66. It's just where they're going. And
Yeah,
if
that
they want to
episode
go that
is-
way, and they just cast Mr. Freeze, I'm kind of interested in that. If we can get some Nora,
Yeah.
some, yeah,
Good.
Heart of Ice.
Yeah, it's getting crazy
that
on
going.
Gotham. It's getting crazy on there. That last episode
Yeah.
too, the last 5 minutes of it, man, it was just huge things went down for sure.
Yeah. Well, howdy.
Yeah, I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I know you do. But the Gatlin, to answer your question, I think it'll last the season.
So at least this season, not get canceled halfway through like some have been. A lot of these network shows get lately. It's gonna make it at least all the way. What 22 episodes? You think?
Yeah, I'm thinking they got the full order of 22, especially now with they got a bigger opening premiere than Gotham, Arrow, Flash. So that's always a good thing.
Now, Steven, I have a question for you about releases.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer when like the Netflix release happens and they release all 22 episodes of an original series, or do you like the network week to week thing?
Oh boy. It's kind of weird. It's kind of times are changing. Kevin Spacey said something at the Emmys a few years ago, but about streaming services. I don't know, man. When something like Jessica Jones comes out, Matt Murdock, they just said today that he is definitely going to be in an episode. I want to wow, okay, so you're telling me I have to watch 5 episodes today? Or I can watch 3 episodes and I can basically have a Jessica Jones movie. That's awesome. But when I get to sitcoms and things, I kind of like waiting a week. Like Dr. Ken, I think is pretty funny, and that's a new series that comes on.
Yeah,
Or
it's
Goldberg, or
hilarious.
Modern Family. It's always fun to take a break from that and come back. And I mean, of course, with Arrow and Flash right now, and The Walking Dead. I'm a huge Walking Dead buff. They devise it so well.
Yeah.
I think all those shows really devise it so well that you are going to be crying and beating the floor until it becomes Sunday again, Tuesday, Wednesday. So, I love that feeling. Like I've been waiting and waiting for Morgan's backstory of how he got so great and focused on The Walking Dead, and a few more days.
A few more days.
See it.
A few more days we get to see it. You're listening to Real Talk on KXOU. That's KXOU, your student radio. Here we are. You can also check us out on the TuneIn app on your Android. I about did it. I almost did the voice. Android device or your iPhone. Get that anytime you want to. We're talking here with Stephen Goodman, local actor, local writer. Stephen does he has some great scripts that you're gonna have these made in the next up and coming year, aren't you, Stephen?
I've got two that very personal to me. I mean, very not personal, like
That was good.
They are. I worked really hard on them, and my mentor and really good friend Daryl Cox, and going to be in both of them. But we're just trying to devise. I've been talking to some people, and with Daryl, we're trying to see which would be best to start out with, and then we can maybe go to the second one. I have a third one I'm working on right now that's very. I'll tell you the basic tagline. You've got 5 misfit teens, nerds, geeks, just like the Goonies. It's a really throwback to those 70s and 80s movies like that, like the Monster Squad and the Goonies. And this is what JJ did with Super 8.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
And then it deals with them and roller disco. And
that'd be fun. It sounds like a lot of fun. Well,
Starskate and Norman. I'm going to be calling you soon.
That's funny because when I drove by that today, I go, I've never rollerbladed there before. I would like to really check it out.
So roller skate, 70s music, and a bunch of misfit nerd kids.
Yeah. Hey, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
It is Joel talking to you, man.
Hi, Joel.
How you doing? How you doing, Stephen?
Good.
I was doing great until I saw this earlier. This is a bit of news regarding some theaters that are possibly showing The Force Awakens. I don't know if you heard about this. Some theaters that are releasing the movie are putting limitations on costumes. Now this is important. This part's important. They went specifically saying no face covering, no face paint, or simulated weapons such as blasters or a lightsaber.
And this is all in light of the recent theater shootings.
In Aurora, yeah. I mean, it's one thing, I guess, to go to Comic-Con or these cons. And, there's one con I went to, I was, oh my God.
Bruce Willis.
Die Hard. John McClane. And the weapon's there, but that's a different thing. But to go into a dark theater and you're going to see someone dressed as Kylo Ren, let's say, might make some people uneasy, and I can see that. I wish, though, we could, something could meet outside in the parking lot and kind of have, a cool thing, and then when you go into the movies, just take off the helmet or whatnot, put the weapons away, and then you can go in and watch it. But
I think that's what they're doing.
Cool stuff out in the parking lot or something.
And I think that's what they're doing, too, outside the movie theater. I think you're allowed to do that. But when you enter the movie theater and obviously, to where you watch the movie, put them away.
This is kind of sad to see. This is where our society's at now, where we have to be this careful at sporting events or at movies, places that we feel like this is where we go to get away from the world.
Exactly, man.
And the real world is coming there with us. And that's things like that kind of bother me a little bit. But you got to understand, we have to be careful. We have to be precautious over everything that's happened in light. I mean, I just told these guys I was at the 9/11 memorial a couple of days ago, and it's crazy to see how the airport security used to be compared to now. It's just sad. Yeah. It's just kind of sad that we're not as innocent as it used to be.
Here's my one issue with this, and again, I totally understand both sides of this, and I'm not trying to cast judgment on either side to say one's right or wrong. I don't necessarily think I've thought about it enough to do that, but I would say, where do you draw a line with stuff like this? Because essentially, there comes a point where every place you go is vulnerable, whether that's to school, whether that's to work, whether that's driving down the road, whether that's, and I'm not bringing it up for any other reason except for this context. Like in Stillwater, you're at a parade. I mean,
that's true.
At some point there is just life is fleeting. It
happens. Yeah, and before we move on, I do want to speak for all of us. I'm sure all of us have heard about that.
I mean,
what happened in Stillwater.
Hey, there's no other person that I want to be in that IMAX theater with fans like me and grown people who are like our fathers and mothers' ages who got to see this at our age, and then when it comes on, Star Wars, that John Williams score, people were talking about all of us having lightsabers and just shining them up in the air, just kind of like a salute.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a beautiful thing, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. But I mean, you're right. I mean, I've heard people saying, no, I don't want to go to Thursday night showings at all because it's going to be cramped house, and what if something happens, and that would be the place that it would happen. And but you can't think like that. You can't be that paranoid.
Exactly.
Yeah, it takes away.
Because I really feel there are more heroes out there than there are villains.
Yeah, agreed.
So, just like anywhere, if something were to happen, I do believe there would be people to stand up for that.
Agreed.
And Stephen, one more question for you. And I know this is kind of turning a different direction, but we are talking about this today, and that's saddest moments in movies. Do you have one that pops to your head, possibly?
I do. Okay. Man, I mean, it's from a comic book movie.
That's fine.
Surprise,
totally fine.
surprise. There's actually two, and another one's from a TV series. Do I get two?
Yeah, you get two. We'll give you two.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 if you want it.
Sure. The first is The Dark Knight. I saw it in theaters 7 times, and I cried at all these times. And a little bit now doesn't make sense if you go back and look at the context of why Batman's having a run, but still, it's the point that when Bruce says to Gordon, "You don't have to thank me," and then that whole talk with Gordon at the very end, and then once Batman gets on his the tripod and takes off, and you see all these police and dogs chasing him, and Joker had that beautiful line of "I'm like a dog chasing cars," and then I don't know if it was put in there for that, but he had the dogs chase after.
Yeah, I didn't notice
Batman.
that until now.
But that final image of him going up the ramp and into the light, I really thought that is how you could have ended that series just like that.
Right, and then it'd been perfect. Yeah, it'd been perfect for Ben Affleck's Batman too.
To me, that was a perfect ending, and that just is that one thing of that. It's for the Batman character that you can't stop him.
Yeah, quickly
you can't. A nuclear blast can't stop him. Superman can't stop him. Like the Joker. No one can stop this man. The next one is the second episode of Daredevil this last season, where he fights all those guys in the corridor, gets to the door, and he knows there's a small kid behind there, and before he opens it, he pauses. He lifts up his mask so the kid can see him, sees a human being and not like a monster or anything. And he goes in there, and they hold the camera beautifully on the door. You can't see inside. He says, "Hi, I'm here to help. Let's say we get you to your dad." And then he walks out with the mask on, and this kid's just clutching to Matt Murdock's arms as Matt is walking down this hall of the 20-plus people he's beat up. And again, just a beautiful thing that there are even there are just heroes like Matt Murdock who are just trying to make good in the world. But that point where he raises up his mask to go in there to that small child, I thought that was the best moment, one of the best moments on TV.
That was beautiful. I remember because you're the one who told me to watch the Daredevil series on Netflix, and I remember that specifically. That was a beautiful scene. Well,
I know that's not a sad scene; it's more of a beautiful scene, but still
emotional, I guess.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for calling in with our "What's Good with Goodman" segment. We'll be calling you again next week if you are available, and we'll go get more stuff with you. You will be. All right. Well, we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you so much.
All right. Well, hey, Stephen, take care. Have a good one, man.
Welcome back to Real Talk, right here on kxou.ou.edu. And in this segment, we're talking saddest movie moments of all time. I tried to get amped for that, but you just, with that music behind you, you can't. There's no joy in the voice when that music's playing.
And that's one of your favorite
movies,
scores, right?
That is from my all-time favorite movie of all time, Cinderella Man, directed by Ron Howard, starring Russell Crowe. Honestly, one of the best movies I think ever made. And Howard Newton.
Yeah.
Is that who does this? He actually does the score for Bridge of Spies as well. He does a lot of those period pieces from like the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Spielberg and Howard.
He also worked on the Batman Begins, I think, with Hans Zimmer.
Okay, you know what movie? I haven't seen the movie, but he does the music for is the Tom Hanks gangster movie.
Oh, Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition. He does the music in that as well. He's really known for that kind of piano music, acoustic piano music with a swelling, exactly,
60s,
like a swelling violin bed underneath it. So
that's awesome.
If you're into soundtrack stuff, he's a really good guy to look up.
Right. Yeah.
Howard Newton Howard.
James Howard Newton, I think.
James Howard Newton. I'm pretty sure that's.
There's a James in there somewhere.
Brian Williams.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
James Harden. James
Fear the
Horner.
So
James Taylor.
We're gonna give our top fives like this. This is going.
We're gonna
down.
be like.
Cause I'm pretty sad about this.
We're gonna be like Eroy, or what's his name? The one that's always sad. Eroy. James Harden.
Eroy.
Eroy.
That's like the big Latin translation. If they subtitle movies
in Latin,
Oroye? No.
Oreos.
Oreo.
All right, so we got
Old
ourselves.
J Illuminino Faye.
We got our top 5.
You know, we could do this whole segment in big Latin. It'd lighten the mood a lot.
Here's the thing. We have to bring ourselves down and be sad.
Well, we do have a studio audience with us right now, so if
live studio audience.
Yes, let's hear you, studio audience. Can you give us a little clap?
There we go.
There
you go.
The fans are coming in loud and clear.
Like I said, guys, we're really changing things up. We send Gatlin 50,000 miles away on
to the moon,
to the moon and back, actually.
And back, yeah.
And now we're getting a studio audience. We're going places.
And now there's people outside our windows just begging for us to.
Joel actually thinks those are zombies trying to get in. So
never mind.
We're not gonna open the door.
I'm not going out there then. I'm staying in here. I'm kidding.
I heard. Hey, they have better gear over there at the Apple Store or whatever that is.
It's right across. Yeah, the IT.
And by the way, guys, we're in the student union. Did you guys know that?
Oklahoma Memorial Union.
Yeah.
To be exact.
Yeah.
OMU.
Not other places that may have been said in earlier segments.
The union.
It's all right. I didn't hear it.
All right, so we got our top 5 lists already. We worked really hard on them.
I cried just thinking about them.
I cry every time. So I guess I'm gonna go first, and then we can just go down like always.
It works for me. And you know what we'll do? If we have honorable mentions, we'll just mention them at the end.
Yeah, we'll mention them at the end.
All
just
right.
If we have some extra time, we can definitely do that.
Exactly.
All right, so number 5 for Joel, saddest moments in movies is Carl's love story in the very beginning of Up. Now, this was very, very sad, I thought, because you're watching these two fall in love, get married, have fun being together as far as a couple goes, and then he loses her, and you're like, well, that's a great way to start a movie, and it was so brilliant by Pixar to do this, to make everyone feel awful at the beginning, not at the end, not at the middle, but at the beginning.
And then you're just like, whoa.
And you're like not prepared for what you're going to watch afterwards. And it turns out to be a very fun and exciting movie altogether. Wonderful film from Pixar, but those beginning scenes just can draw anybody to a tear, anybody.
I think that definitely deserves an honorable mention, if not a place on somebody's list.
That's my 5.
Gatlin?
My number 5, guys, is In the Green Mile. When Michael Clark Duncan...
Oh, spoilers, by the way. Spoilers.
Says, yeah, there should be a lot of spoilers.
A lot of spoilers in these.
He looks at Tom Hanks' character and says, "Don't put me in the dock." And they put that execution mask over him. They light him up.
That's
I almost cry every time I see him. He's like, because he's such the character that Michael Clark Duncan plays in that movie is so innocent, and then he's getting accused of murder and all this stuff, and then he's like, "Don't put me in the dock, boss." And so they don't put the hood on him.
Michael Clark Duncan, did he pass away?
He passed away 2 years ago with a heart attack, heart failure. Sad deal. But that movie, that's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the other day, it may be the saddest movie the whole way through, but to me, that scene right there is so powerful. To have such a big man say something that's so childish, and because he doesn't want to go to the dark, he doesn't want to die, and they take him home.
Man, that's terrible.
Well, my number 5. Man, this is going to be tough getting through these 5, but I think we can do it. I would say I have
a lot of tissues.
I'm going to say my number 5 would also have to be the love story at the beginning of Up. So I know we don't need to elaborate on that very much more, but I think, being human, that's birth to life or birth to death. That's the
cycle of life.
That's the transition in this world, at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's something that really I think hits on a nerve with humans, and I thought that was really cool the way Pixar went there. A cartoon went there and did it well. And anybody who has older grandparents, great grandparents, they've seen that happen, and it's tough to watch it. And I think Pixar really did a good job of exemplifying that. So,
all right, man, Pixar, you're hurting me because number 4 is another Pixar movie.
Oh wow,
yeah. This is my favorite Toy Story film, Toy Story 2. It would probably be Jessie and her original owner Emily, their story. Like how she got lost from her owner. Like you saw this in the music. Oh my gosh, music just brought a tear in my eye. You got to see the story of Jessie and how she was left behind pretty much by her owner, almost incidentally, because she adored Emily, her owner. She adored her, and then she just got left under the bed. That scene where she just shrugged her under whenever Emily reaches down when she's older, because when she was younger, she obviously played with Jessie a lot more as her doll, and then later in that segment, Jessie's under the bed, and an older Emily reaches under, trying to look for makeup or something, and then she finds Jessie the doll, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember," and then she puts her in a box, and then sets her down at a tree, and just leaves her. That was so sad to me. That was one of the most saddest. Oh no, she was in a truck. No, she was in the car, and then she got bumped out, and then she got left behind. Man, that's sad. Toys, man. It's like dogs too. They're just like dogs.
Everybody goes home and hugs all their toys. Everything. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to play.
Yeah, for real.
What about love all the inanimate objects in your life? What's the message of Toy Story?
Can't take those toys with you.
I don't really know.
Well, my number 4, guys, is one that neither one of you will probably have. It resonates with me because it was the last movie I got to watch with my grandpa.
Okay.
Before he passed away, and it was in Gran Torino. Clint Eastwood's character, Mr. Kalowski, I think it's right. It's Kalowski, goes to approach the young men who have been destroying the neighborhood, beating up the young man that he befriends in the movie. And he goes over, and then I believe they beat his sister, or they even raped her in the movie. And so he goes over there, and you think it's going to be a shootout, Clint Eastwood versus all these guys. And all he did was reach in his pocket to grab his leg. He's like, "Y'all got a light?" And they're like, "No." And he reaches in. He's like, "Well, I got a light." And he flips up, and they thought he was reaching for his gun, so they light him up literally. Clint Eastwood, and this is the last movie Clint Eastwood. Everyone thought this was gonna be the last movie he was in, because he's starting to look frail and everything.
Yeah.
And I watched it with my grandpa. My grandpa sat there. He's like, I never seen my grandpa ever get emotional, and he loves Clint Eastwood. So that was. But the thing always makes it lighthearted for me a little bit. My grandpa at the very end, he's like, Clint Eastwood never dies. This is bull.
Fill in the blank.
But it's a beautiful movie. That's why I really like Gran Torino.
Yeah.
I would say for my number 4, I would put probably the Amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I have a list in front of me, and it's game time decision. But I'm gonna say Amazing Spider-Man 2 is gonna be my number 4 saddest movie moment. When Gwen dies. Spoiler. We
already said that at the beginning.
This all falls under the banner of spoiler alert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you have young children who haven't seen movies, or
you haven't watched the movie,
leave the room now. But no, when Gwen dies, I see. Not being a comic book guy, I didn't know it was coming, and I should have seen it coming. I really should have seen it coming, but I didn't. And when she died, oh my goodness, I
almost cried.
I actually watched it with a member of our studio audience here, I think. And,
he looks back.
We walked out so angry. I was sangry, as they say.
Sangry.
So, anyway, Joel.
All right.
Number 3.
Numero 3. This one's a pretty good one. Saving Private Ryan, the ending in the cemetery. I think that was a very, very emotional scene.
Yeah.
Especially
when you think it's
the performance. When you think it's Tom Hanks' character.
And that was such a great way of hiding it, the way they transitioned it.
Yeah.
It was kind of unfair the way they transitioned it. whenever you do that, it automatically always means this is that guy.
Yeah.
But if you want to hide something, that's the way to do it.
Exactly.
For our listeners out there, the scene starts with an old man in a cemetery, and it cross-dissolves into Tom Hanks' character in a boat, storming the beaches of Normandy.
And then we almost see everything through his perspective.
And then at the end, it goes from Matt Damon's character into the old guy,
man.
and then you look down at the headstone, and it's the name of the lieutenant of Tom Hanks' character.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done.
Music, too.
Come on, Spielberg, you can't do me that way.
Man, that was very emotional, but Gatlin.
My number 3, this is one that y'all probably will not agree with, but I got emotional in this part of the movie. And actually, it's because it's the love of a father and a daughter. And it's when Cooper is reunited with Murph in Interstellar.
Yeah.
But it's the old lady Murph.
And then she said,
I'm not trying to laugh, Gatlin.
And then she says, I guess, I guess you said you didn't want to see me. You didn't want to see your daughter old or something.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah,
that is actually a cool. I will say this, that
because think of it, that happened to you. Like you see your child and she's on her deathbed.
Absolutely, and that was actually
way older than you.
Really good writing for that.
Was really great.
And I'm not laughing at your pick. The reason I was laughing is because that was the point of the movie when I was like, oh my goodness, they're in an infinity spaceship. Like, and then when I couldn't accept the moment because for me it was so far fetched. But
like I think because that whole movie is just the love between a father and how far it will go across the entire galaxy.
Murph.
But that was my number 3.
Hayden.
Okay, I would say my number 3 would have to be Where the Red Fern Grows.
Oh man.
Where when old Dan dies.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Man, I haven't seen that in forever.
Oh my god!
But I remember.
Talk about a sad story. And for our listeners who don't know the story, it's the story of a boy. He gets these 2 hunting dogs. That's all he wants. He grows up. He's in Oklahoma, around the Tahlequah, Oklahoma area, and he wants these 2 hunting dogs. He gets old Dan and little Ann, and they go on all these adventures together. And one day, old Dan gets hurt and he dies. And then little Ann is so sad from grief that she dies. So they bury the dogs, and then there's a red fern that grows there, and that is the. Oh my goodness! I read the book too.
Sad. I remember reading the book too.
I cried.
But wasn't it that he was saving him from like a cougar or a mountain lion?
Exactly.
I think that's what it was.
Yep. Old Dan saves the main character from a mountain lion.
I mean, if there's a way to go, what better way, than saving your owner like that. All right, so we move on from one death to another. I'm on to my number 2. I know
that was a really morbid transition.
I know. And this one and this one's it did the same effect for me on this one. Mufasa's death in Lion King.
Oh
man,
Simba.
And here's the thing, like my dad always jokes about him being Mufasa, me being Simba, or whatever. And I'm like, do you really want to be Mufasa now that he dies? But that's a very emotional scene. The fact that he thinks, especially since Simba thinks he caused it, almost the entire movie. That's sad.
It's so sad. Okay, mine's a Disney movie as well. Toy Story 3, when Andy gives away his toys at the end.
Oh man,
God, because guys think about that. That's like I really resonated with me. Like that's when, because you remember last time you saw all your toys.
Man, it's been a long time.
And I can remember playing that. I spent hours with those. So yeah, Toy Story 3, the end.
That's
not the end,
cried.
Sadly.
Try watching it with your mom.
Oh, I did. She's like, oh.
My mom was. I think my mom cried. Yeah, she did cry.
I think she did too. Mine.
Yeah.
Number 2. That was my number 2.
Hayden.
My number 2 would have to be, honestly, one of my top. I think it made my top 10 list of favorite movies. It may not have, but if it's not, it's close. And that's Radio. The moment when, again, spoilers, but Radio's mom, when she passes away, there's a lot of moments in that film that could make this list. But I think for me, that moment really, really got me. And I think Cuba Gooding Jr. was totally underrated in this role. I think he did such a powerful job in that role. But we're running out of time for today. But next week, I'm going to tell you guys a story about a guy that I
awesome
know.
Story.
It's really a really cool story about Radio, actually. But that'll be for next week. So tune in next Thursday. Joel, what's your
number 1 saddest moment in movies?
Yeah, this is a really sad one. Disney Strikes Again. Bambi's mother. Whenever she dies, and everybody kind of it's almost like a joke now when people mention it, but it's become that way simply because it was so
iconic.
It was so iconic. It was such another iconic movie moment from Disney.
Is that my number one now?
Number one.
You're number one.
So you guys are going to make fun of me. But
I'm already laughing. I'm kidding.
when Allie remembers Noah and then totally forgets him instantly in The Notebook.
See ya. I'm out of here.
For real, though, hey.
You'll have fun doing the radio.
Hey, I already told you The Notebook was in my top 10 when we did our movies at one time. So I will say, though, that for real, though, honestly.
For real,
on a real talk thing, like if you believe in true love and all that, and then you just want to see the power of love right there, with how James Gardner. How James Gardner is this is where guys need to freaking take off our masculinity. You guys know me. I'm one of the most masculine guys
I'm making fun of that. I'm not.
But for real, like that part right there, and then she just freaks out on him, and you're just like, God, he just busted his butt for 5 weeks trying to get her to remember, and then she, in 5 seconds, forgot.
Yeah.
I feel for him every time. It makes me sad.
I would say my number one would have to be The Passion of the Christ. I think. I think, and that's something that's hard to represent in a film, and I think there's some places where that film really fell short. But for me, for my faith, I would say that's one of the saddest films, the saddest film I've ever watched. And I think it's followed up by the greatest moment in human history. But I think for that moment when you realize what it is, what's going on there, I think it really is the saddest moment in human history, and I thought it was represented.
The gruesome of it.
Yeah.
It's really gruesome, and that's just a spark of reality.
Exactly. And exactly. For me, when I think about what's going on in that moment, it's a incredibly powerful, sad, but yet greatest moment in human history kind of deal. So
it's great.
My number
great
one.
job. Jim Caviezel did a great job portraying.
Jim Caviezel, that was his role.
And Mel Gibson directing.
That's great.
He had so much passion for it, no pun intended.
Thank you guys for listening to this awesome edition of Real Talk. Now, I know it was kind of a downer talking about some sad moments in movies, but we really enjoyed giving you our top 5 saddest moments in movies. So comment below and let us know what's your saddest moments in film history. I know it's kind of a mellow direction to go to, but at the same time, we really are curious to know what your list is. So comment below. Also leave a like for this video and subscribe for more awesome episodes of Real Talk here on this page. So this has been Joel from Real Talk, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.